All right, we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to About the Buckets. It's been a minute. It's been too long. But we are back. We are ready to roll. As always, presented by About the Fans. Make sure you go to aboutthefans.com. We got Matty Ice. We got Mike McCoy. And me, Jordan Nelson. So let's talk some hoops, guys.
Is this the first time we've done this season?
Yeah.
It is. It's been too long, man.
Jesus Christ. Man.
Yeah. Yep. Last show we did was a preseason show, and now we are a quarter of the way through the season. We are all busy boys, and so yeah, trying to make it work.
It's not going to be like this moving forward, though, right,
No,
guys?
it's
No.
not. It's
No.
not.
Yeah,
Not
and
at all.
it's going to be weekly from now on. So every Wednesday, on Wednesday we talk about buckets. That's going to be. I'm going to tweet that every Wednesday. So
There we go.
yep. Okay, let's get right into it. We're a quarter of the way through the season. I want to start off talking some surprises / disappointments. So we'll kind of roundtable it. Let's just go in a circle, and you can bring up a surprise or disappointment. So I was big on the Minnesota Timberwolves early in the preseason.
Mhm.
I just want to talk about them for a minute because they've been kind of disappointing. I think it was kind of understandable that they'd have to take some time to gel, playing 2 7-footers, Rudy and Cat, seeing if they could figure out how to play together. But it's looked uglier than I thought. I actually think it's less Rudy and Cat, and it's more trying to get D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards to be able to play around two bigs.
Mhm.
D'Angelo
They've
Russell has been pretty bad statistically the last time I checked, so I don't know how he's shooting now. But
Oh, he like the eye test backs that up. He looks
Oh,
pretty
man.
bad.
That's discouraging. Damn.
Yeah, and like I've been a D'Angelo Russell truther. I was hoping that him having a role partner like Rudy Gobert would make him look like an all-star again, right? Because when he had Jarrett Allen in Brooklyn, he looked good, and their pick and roll combo was very effective. He had an all-star appearance. I was thinking he'd be able to channel that. And while there's been glimpses of him, making the right passes, being a good distributor, he still just kind of tries to do the hero ball thing a little too much.
Mm.
So
You want to know why that is?
why?
This is totally me taking a shot in the dark, but in Brooklyn, what do he have? Nothing.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, there's a lot of pieces around him. Maybe he's one of those guys that just needs the offense to go through him or needs the ball in
Yeah.
his hands for him to be effective, and maybe he doesn't do good as
Yeah.
that second or third guy. Just assuming,
Yeah.
just by kind of hearing, and we all seeing him in Brooklyn, and now he has pieces. It's probably just hard for him to adjust
Yeah.
to.
If I'm Minnesota and I could do things over again, I mean, if I could do that trade over again, I would extend it to include Mike Conley. So I'm getting Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert back. And moving D'Angelo Russell, whether it's to a third team or to the Jazz. I just think they need a guy there who doesn't need to take shots. They need a guy there who's willing to set up the two bigs, who's willing to let Anthony Edwards shine. And not that Conley's the only answer there, but if I could redo that trade with the Jazz, I would be taking Mike Conley back. So I'm interested to see. It's kind of been worst case scenario for them, and they're 500, so it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Even though it's looked horrible, I think the optics on the court, interviews with the media has been worst case scenario all the way around. But the fact that they're still 500, obviously Cat strained his right calf a few nights ago, so he's going to miss probably the next 2 months. I'm kind of thinking, maybe that will give Anthony Edwards an opportunity to figure out how to play with Rudy. And they're missing Taurean Prince and they're missing Jaden McDaniels tonight, and I don't know how long they'll miss those guys. But once they get everyone back besides Karl Anthony Towns, I think they might start to look a little better. But eventually they're going to have to figure out how to phase Cat back in when he's healthy.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to say, I agree with you guys. I think a lot of it too is there's some guys that when they don't have a certain amount of shot volume, they're not getting, they just can't get comfortable offensively. And I think that might be it. Because when he was on Brooklyn, even Minnesota a few years ago, when he first got there, he was taking significantly more shots. And then even when he was on the Warriors too, for that part of the season. So I think that's something that's really contributing to it. I think he just doesn't really fit into that role, that they're trying to put him in.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what Minnesota does. I mean, they could also use a guy like Jay Crowder. They don't really have any trade chips. All of them belong to my Utah Jazz now. They have a few pick swaps they could use. They have a few young players. So I'll be interested to see if they're able to make any moves, but who knows? So, Mike, let's go with you. Go ahead and name us a surprise or disappointment. So good or bad?
I had it here. Well, disappointment. Well, I guess we're gonna say this for the other segment. What's broke, or what did you call it?
Yeah, is it broke? We're gonna go into that later. Yeah,
I'll save that for that.
There was one you mentioned earlier, Mike.
Yeah,
off air. I thought you were gonna mention it.
I did.
The Warriors.
That's for that segment.
I saved the Warriors.
Oh, that was for the segment? Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
My bad.
We can go in. Well, I don't know.
I can pick one if you want to think about it.
I'm thinking right now. I'm trying to think. I had one and I can't remember. Damn it. I'm kind of not surprised, but I guess look, the NBA is just sometimes it's hard to figure out, right? You think you got to figure it out, and then something weird happens or whatever. But the Bucks, the way they're playing without Middleton, I think it's encouraging. I mean, they're 15-5 as we speak, and he's due to get back soon. I saw an article saying it's either going to be this week or the next couple of games or whatever the case was. But he had an off-season, what was it, like a knee procedure, I think it was.
Yeah.
In this off-season, so I think that's pretty cool that they've been able to hold it down and pretty much not miss a beat with their second best player. And but that's not the one, man. I had one in my head while you guys were talking, and I cannot remember what the hell it was. Oh, Lauri Markkanen. That's a surprise. I know that the Jazz caught everybody by surprise. It's they're kind of like coming down to earth, and I don't want to see that because I know you do, because for obvious reasons, next April's draft or next June's draft, I should say. But right now they're 12-11. But Lauri Markkanen, my goodness, man. Somebody I was talking to the other day made a point, and he was saying that Lauri Markkanen's issue was never really, his skill. As a Bulls fan, he's a Magic fan. Yeah. I'm a Bulls fan, and with me, it was he just needed time. He just needed touches. Yeah. He just needed a chance. And for him, he made a really good point. The Bulls were kind of jam locked with bigs in front of him, and so he never really. So both of us made a point because he was getting around to, if you got a lot of bigs in front of you, you can't play. And that was his stand. I mean, look at him now. Look at him now. And the guy was always capable. When the Bulls drafted him, he was the best player in Europe. Has a touch from outside. Can he's underrated physically. Not the biggest athlete, but he's a typical European player. Tall guy that can shoot, fundamentally sound, and I don't think he's a terrible defender. I don't think that. Especially in the paint.
I think he's been pretty decent. And one of the things that surprised me is like when the Cavs were playing him at small forward last year or as a perimeter player, I thought that was weird. I thought that he was just kind of like stand in the corner and shoot. But he's excelled in Utah. Like they are playing him as a legit wing. Like he does not play post for them. He handles the ball. He brings it down in crunch time. He's initiating the offense. Like he is playing point forward,
Yeah. And so he's Jordan, a good 6'10"?
Yeah.
6'9"?
He's 6'10". Yeah. So this is actually what I was gonna bring up when we were gonna talk about the Jazz and stuff. So thanks for bringing it up, Mike. So I don't know if you guys saw, but Lauri Markkanen was actually on JJ Redick's podcast, Old Man in the Three, and so he was talking a lot about this, about when he was on the Cavs and he played that more of that three role, and he started to get more comfortable with it, and he attributes that to why he's performing at this high level. And then also too, the Jazz having the confidence in him having the ball, executing in those pick and rolls and seeing him more as a wing player based on, when he was playing in Europe, in the whatchamacallit.
Yeah. Like Euro Cup. I can't
Euro
remember.
Cup, whatever it's called. Yeah. That's what the Jazz wanted from him. That's what
the Bulls wanted from him.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's just been, it's one of those situations where you just found the perfect situation, right? Because you can be the greatest player, but you have to find the coach that makes you into that player, right? Essentially.
Yeah. And I like, I've become a huge Lauri Markkanen fan over, this season. Watched him a lot in the summer after the Jazz acquired him. Now watching every Jazz game. He's the only player. I guess there's a few young guys, but he's the only player that I really, really don't think the Jazz should move. And I like that, even as the team has been losing, they've kind of fallen apart since Mike Conley hurt his knee. But Markkanen is still holding his averages. He's putting up good numbers. He looks good. It's just that the Jazz as a team are losing games lately. But, the All-Star game is in Salt Lake City this year, and Markkanen is going to be there. I don't know if he will make the team initially, but I bet you he will be a reserve, because it's the hometown and everything like that. I bet you he gets the benefit of the doubt, moves up an extra spot or two on that reserve.
Oh, he's going to get voted. What is it? The fans vote for the starters, and then the rest is by the coaches, or are they still doing this draft thing, which I think is terrible?
I think it's still a draft thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I mean, it's fun to watch, but whatever. But he should get drafted. I mean, he definitely deserves it, man. He's one of the hottest players in the league. One of the right now he's one of the 10 best players in the league.
Yeah. I just love watching him. I'm really pumped about the opportunity that the Jazz have right now. They have 15 tradable draft picks. They have a lot of veterans who have value, and Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley, Kelly Olynyk. All those guys are playing some of the best basketball of their careers. Obviously not Conley, but he's playing good for the later stage of his career. The Jazz can pretty much trade for anybody they want with their picks right now. And then with tanking, hopefully they keep losing those games. Hopefully we get a good player in the draft. And then the next time a big superstar hits the trade market, the Jazz can outbid everyone. So, I mean, how cool would it be to have Lauri Markkanen playing like this and be your third best player moving forward?
The guy's a mismatch. Like I said, skill was never his thing.
Yeah.
And Danny Ainge, I mean, what do you expect? He's what you're gonna get with him. He's gonna stockpile picks, and he's gonna use that, to build a team. So,
dude, every game that the Mavericks just look terrible around Luka is just like Christmas for me. Because one of these days Luka's gonna snap. He's just gonna be like, I am so tired of my starting lineup combining for 8 points next to me.
Damn.
So, okay, Maddie, give us your surprise or your disappointment.
So I don't know how much of a surprise this is, but I feel like I got to give him props, and I'm gonna say SGA.
Okay,
dude has been balling out. 31, 6, and 5 a game, and his percentages are up there. I think he's shooting like 50%. He's looked really good. I mean, all-star or what? I mean, I think if he's playing at this level, right? Even though the team, I think they're like 8-13 or 8 and something. I think you can't really deny him. He's playing at an incredible level, and he's been pretty efficient too, as well.
Yeah, I think so. At least last year, there was some talk around, NBA fans that I really respect, guys that I interact with on Twitter, that I'm always interested to hear their opinions of SGA in the conversation with Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker and guys like that. And that wasn't a widely held opinion, though.
Wow.
But now, I think
this season or last season?
Last season, But
Okay.
it was hard because you just didn't get to see SGA a
Right.
lot, right? He was
Right.
always
No.
the Thunder were trying to tank. They'd pull him out if he stubbed his toe. They'd make him sit for 50 games. But man, it's undeniable. He looks like an all NBA player this year.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to when you talk about guys like that. It's like I don't even think I'd take Donovan Mitchell over him. SGA looks incredible this year.
One
So
stat that you left
But
out, Maddie, is 1.7, as in 1.7, nearly 2 steals per game.
yeah, and that's something that has changed for him this season. I was gonna say though, you got to give prop because I've been someone that has said a lot of things against Donovan Mitchell, but he's having a good season this season. He's
Yeah.
playing really well. He's been better defensively. I still think that that's
Yeah,
always going to be a part
dude,
of his game. Go ahead, Jordan.
This is my bitter Jazz fan coming out. He gave an interview the other day where he was talking about, I don't know, it was a guy that I'd never heard of. So I don't know if he's on the Cleveland coaching staff or whether he's just
Mhm.
like kind of a end of the bench and locker room type of guy for the Cavs this year. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. But there was a headline that he ripped into Donovan for slacking on defense, and Donovan said something like, he's like, no one's really got onto me like that for not playing defense since Rick Pitino in college.
Ooh.
And I'm just like, dude, you are such a liar, bro. Like, you are such a liar. Like, he blew up the Jazz because Rudy told him every single day to play defense better. Like Rudy even said it in the news where he was like, yeah, I love watching Devin Booker because he's great on offense and he gives a crap on defense.
Damn.
And and Mitchell was like pouting about it and I don't know why it doesn't stay in the locker room. Dude, get out of here. I can't stand Donovan Mitchell.
Damn.
I'm super biased, don't get me wrong. But he just says literally anything to make his audience like him. But yeah.
I know a guy like that.
Don't watch the interview with JJ Redick, man.
Dude.
I feel like because he tries to come across as like likable and stuff. I feel like you would just hate him even more.
Oh, boy.
He is likable at first. Like when he first got to the Jazz, everyone loved him here, dude. He was like a state hero for the first 2 or 3 years, and because he's exciting, he's a fantastic ball player, all that stuff. But after a while, I just started to like catch on and notice that it's like he's smart and almost like I almost started to feel like he was just like a little too cunning with the way that he handled the PR stuff, that it made me just feel like weird about his opinions, Or it's just like, do you actually believe that, or are you just saying that to make people like you?
Dude, that's LeBron. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That is LeBron.
Yeah, it is LeBron.
That is LeBron. Jesus.
Yeah, I can't stand LeBron on social media.
Did you see that extra just I love you, bro, with Russ bleeding from his head and LeBron just oh my God, come here, let me and kind of Russ told him like, dude, I'm okay, like don't worry about it. Like,
well, if he's injured, he can't trade him. That's why he's worried.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man.
I've been a huge LeBron fan since the day he was on Sports Illustrated as a high school player.
Mm-hmm.
He was my favorite NBA player, probably up until about the time he went to the Lakers. I'd defend him to no end, but dude, he is just so corny and like deliberate about his image in a cheesy way that it is just hard.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, and
it's hard
like,
to swallow.
And I'm some dude that like, I think he definitely belongs in the conversation for greatest of all time. I don't think it's a settled debate by any means, but like I'm happy to bring up points of why LeBron deserves his recognition, in that conversation. But dude, he is such a freaking cornball, man. I get tired of the, like exactly what you're talking about, or the thing with Migos. I mean, that's not my wheelhouse when it comes to music. But how didn't he say that he was listening to him in 2010 and
when he was with the
weren't
Heat,
even formed for like a year or two later? Dude, that's total LeBron, bro.
Well, that was pre-mixtape. LeBron had it before anyone else.
I'm sure
exclusive stuff.
I'm sure he did. So I'm surprised he didn't come out, and just be like, yeah, I knew Lauri Markkanen would be able to, handle the ball like this, and initiate the offense for the Jazz since before the Bulls drafted him. So yeah, LeBron's a cornball, dude. But respect. He's gonna pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a few months, so it's impressive. All right, so let's move on to Is It Broken, which is gonna be a fun segment. I'm excited. So Mike, let's let you kick it off because you had a team in mind that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, man. So I mean, right now they're standing. I'm looking at the standings right now, and the NBA defending champion Golden State Warriors are sitting pretty at 9th in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
11-11 record, 500. They are 9-1 at home. They're struggling on the road big time. That's probably an understatement. 2-10. They are averaging 117.5 points per game. They are allowing 117.2 points per game, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. In any sport, I'm big on if you lose one guy, yes, I'm not saying a guy can't mean a lot to a team, but damn, the losses of Peyton II, who else did they lose? Even though Toscano Anderson wasn't Otto Porter, that was a big part of their run. Toscano Anderson wasn't really, but he was there.
Yeah.
And didn't Wiseman get reassigned down to the G League?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing much.
He hasn't been, and he got reassigned because he wasn't playing well, not because he was hurt. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Which is a surprise to me because I was advocating for that guy big time. I can't wait till he comes back. Can't wait till he's healthy. That, and then the last thing I thought was he'd be playing poorly, right? So that was discouraging because I bring this up to everybody. Like he's an athlete that they sorely need because throughout their championship run, they never really had athletes. I think they kind of got a watered down version of Iggy. Even though he was still contributing, but he wasn't AI in Philly Iggy, right? And then when they finally got the athlete, even though KD's not an athlete doesn't predicate his game on being athletic. That was the best athlete that they've had on that, throughout that run. Look what happens when he's there, right?
Yeah.
And then Wiseman at that position, I'm thinking this is exactly what they need.
Yeah.
I was just really disappointed to see him playing poorly. And I don't know if it's still the same now, but earlier on in the season, I know their bench was struggling big time and their starters were carrying them.
Yeah, still the same.
It's still the same? Okay, so championship medal is what won that series last year. So I'm expecting that to come around at some point. Especially, the core is there, the leadership is there, Kerr is there, and he knows how to make those things click, but disappointing to say the least, man. I like when they're playing well. I would love to see them win it again. This year, but definitely. Wow, what's wrong with them, guys?
Well, first I want you to answer the question: is it broke?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's broke.
Maddie, do you think it's broke?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's broken.
So, I think that the roster as it stands might be
okay,
but I think they have the assets to make a trade, right? Because you pointed out, Mike, it's the fact that their starters, arguably the best lineup in the NBA this year. So that's clearly not broke, but their bench is terrible. And we could get into what's the worst contract given out this offseason. Is it Tyler Hero or Jordan Poole? Jordan Poole's in the discussion. It just has not been pretty for their bench lineups. But they have the assets to make a move, though. There's going to be teams selling. I think some of the pieces that I mentioned, like from the Jazz, would be incredible there. Like Kelly Olynyk and Malik Beasley coming off the bench for the Warriors would be absolutely fantastic for them. You brought up Wiseman. I'm still a believer in Wiseman. I think going to the Warriors was maybe the worst situation for him.
Really?
Yeah, and not for any other reason except for that the Warriors are win now mode, right? They need to win everything they can before Steph retires. I don't think they're going to be able to give James Wiseman the leeway to develop as a player, and be terrible, because for some guys you just have to be terrible to figure it out, And Wiseman isn't going to get those opportunities. They're chasing championships. So, honestly, as a Jazz fan, as someone who wants to tank this year, as someone who wants to develop younger guys, I'd love James Wiseman as a trade target. Um,
M-
Go ahead.
No, finish. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, well, just like something like a Malik Beasley and Kelly Olynyk for James Wiseman. That I don't know if that's selling short for the Warriors, but to me, that's just upside, man. Like I'm willing to watch James Wiseman be terrible for 50 games in the hopes that he figures it out because he is a freak athlete.
He, I don't disagree with what you're saying. If it was another team other than the Warriors, in terms of like how you said they were win now mode, and I get it what you're saying because it's 100% fact that they can't wait for a guy to develop, but at the same time, it's like he kind of has one job. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He doesn't have. He's not the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth option. Like I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he'll be the fifth option if he's starting, but you get what I'm saying. Like they're not going
Yeah.
to draw plays up for him. Maybe not that. Maybe an alley oop here or there, whatever.
Mhm.
But it's be a rim runner, it's rebound, and be a good perimeter defender. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out what his struggle, and that's what's frustrating because he's capable of. He's a basketball player. That's what you do. You
Yeah.
got good coaching. You got good leadership. You got Dre to lean on in terms of up here.
Yeah.
And yes, up here because I think Dre is a good leader.
Yeah.
But
When he's not sucker punching people.
yeah, when he's not, very good point. So I don't know. I really would like
Yeah.
to know what's going on
So-
with him, but go ahead.
Can I just say I think part of it too is like the thing that people overlook is like he played a very limited amount of college games because of what happened to him.
Right.
He
right.
played in his rookie season, he played what, like half the season, if
Got
that.
hurt, right?
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
hurt. So he's been very limited. And I don't know how I want to word this, but the other thing that I'm kind of looking at is like, the Warriors were known for developing their talent, right? But like the last couple years, when you look at it, like who have they really, developed? And I think that that's kind of on them. You look
Yeah.
at like, a guy like, I mean, you look at their roster right now. Moses Moody was a guy they drafted.
Yeah.
I think he's a second-year player.
Mhm.
And he's having a hard time getting into the rotation. Same with
Yeah,
Jonathan
he is.
Kuminga. Yeah.
And Kuminga, I have to be honest with you. I know Kuminga was a guy that you really liked, Mike. But man, watching him in summer league, a place where he should dominate, he put up some solid like points, but he did not look like he could play well in an NBA game. And I think that's partly on the Warriors organization and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just looked very raw and uncomfortable. And I don't know. I just really wasn't impressed by him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of have to look and see, like,
Yeah.
are they
Well-
really, you talk about the lack of depth, are they
Yeah.
just not, able to develop these guys like they used to?
Yeah. Well, I wonder how much confidence has to play, especially in James Wiseman's case. Like,
Yeah.
he's only played like 1,000 minutes of basketball since high school.
Yeah.
Between college and his first 3 seasons in the
Mhm.
NBA. I was kind of skeptical at the end of last year. It was one of my NBA basketball conspiracies that I think they kind of just told him that he was done for the year. He had an injury, and I think they were just like, dude, like we're just shelving you for the rest of the season. We got to focus on this playoff run. Trying to retain some of his trade value rather than sending him to the G League, stuff like that. But think about what that do to his confidence
Right.
in the sense that he's not getting the opportunity to develop because he goes out there, he struggles on both sides of the ball, and as soon as he does, they yank him and then they send him to the G League team. Like, that's probably not easy for a young guy who essentially is only 1,000 minutes removed from being a high school player. So I do think your point, Mike, was fair that he's not being asked a lot of, but I do think there could be an element of just lacking confidence, like he's
Yeah.
not like, if I was him, I would be constantly afraid of not only being benched, but being sent to, a different
Right.
team.
Hmm.
And, so I mean, obviously the Warriors have been like a plus organization over the last 10 years, but I'd really love to see Wiseman on a team where he can kind of work through the growing pains.
Yeah.
And, it's like, even when he makes a boneheaded play, like throw him the ball again, like
Yeah,
let
yeah,
him
you got
figure
to.
it out.
Yeah.
He needs it. He's undeniably a great talent, but it's just hard. It's hard to ask him to fit into a system that's playing for all the chips right now. So
And then the thing is, the guy, that has Kevon Looney, I think, well, other than last year, I know he was big when they lost to the Cavs in 20, whatever it was, 15. But Kevon Looney is a good guy to learn from behind,
yeah,
learn behind from, or you know what I'm trying to say. A good
Mhm.
guy to learn from. Fundamental guy, good rebounder, good defender, not as athletically gifted or talented as Wiseman, but that's a good guy to learn under. So to your point, the Jazz, it's either send him down so he can play more
yeah,
than 1,000 minutes, or
yeah,
keep him here through the struggle so he can learn behind that guy, but he's not going to play. So, like, which one is it?
yeah,
So, I honestly, I probably would have kept him up there. Probably would
yeah.
have kept him up. And sometimes you just got to do that. Maybe play him in. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but sending him down, I get why they did it. But if you kind of look at it, probably. I know it's hindsight's 2020, but letting him stay and learning from a guy like Looney. But that's just a mystery, man. I love Dante DiVincenzo's game. Kuminga, athletic freak. I don't know what it is with him. I don't know. You mentioned Poole in the contract. They got talent, but
Yeah,
obviously it's not just more. It's they need that leadership, and maybe
yeah,
that's another thing that's lacking, at least off the bench.
yeah. Well, I mean, their bench unit, all the guys we named, not that they're not good, right? Not that Poole, Kaminga, Moody, Wiseman, not that these guys aren't good, and even
Hmm.
DiVincenzo, like he's a younger dude, he's
Hmm.
been had some playoff runs with the
Hmm.
Bucks.
Hmm.
However, like it is a far cry from Sean
Oh
Livingston,
yeah.
Andre Iguodala,
Yeah, yeah.
David West, like
David Lee and freaking who
yeah,
else? I mean, yeah, the
Well,
Brazilian guy.
I think a
yeah,
lot of it too was
Barbosa,
like
yeah,
these guys were more comfortable in their roles. I don't know if it's
yeah,
just time too. Like I mean, you had other guys too, like Festus Ezeli, who like
mhm,
literally was just there to rebound and set really good screens.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
heard that all the time. I think there was one post game conference when um, Draymond just specifically talked about his ability to screen, and I feel like that's kind of like what this team is missing. You know what
yeah,
I mean? They just don't have guys that fill those
Role
small
players. Yeah, yeah.
roles, those small things that are big things, you
yeah,
know?
You know what? I do have to admit this because look, when it's time and you kind of see the writing on the wall, like, okay, this guy may not be back because it's the last year of his contract. We're not going to pay him this. He's also old, this or that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to bring him back. And then the young guys that have been playing well, you see it's coming their time. I have to admit that I asked myself, are these guys ready to take the mantle now to be the guys coming in off the bench and filling the Iguodala roles, the Barbosa roles, Sean Livingston roles, whoever else? I did ask myself that because you kind of want to see it more than a year.
yeah,
You know what I mean? More than a season. And I'm not saying that, you know, they pretty much blew up last year. Jordan Poole. I'm not saying that people that know basketball know about him, but what it took for him to gut him up and where he is. But last year was his year. Correct me if I'm
yeah,
wrong. Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Blew up
amazing
last
last
year.
year.
The same thing with actually Kuminga never blew up. You saw spurts here and there, but I was like, are they ready? Are they ready? And so
Yeah,
I guess we're seeing that answer now. I don't think it's broken. None of us think it's broken. Let's see if they make a trade. But here's my question to you: who are you going to trade? You talked about them trading that, like who?
yeah. I mean, the Jazz are a perfect target right now. They're kind of a perfect target for everyone. I know I
Jordan's
keep
just
saying,
like, please take him. Please
yeah,
take him.
but I'm just saying though, like let's just say hypothetically, they're like, okay, we will part with two of these young guys, and I mean Moody, Kaminga, Wiseman, right? We gotta play our cards and cash in all the chips to help Curry get a championship again before he leaves. Like you can't tell me that Kelly Olynyk and Malik Beasley wouldn't immensely help that bench lineup. Like those are two dudes that are well defined role players. Especially Kelly Olynyk is like he'd be amazing on the Warriors.
Yeah,
He's
he's
been
one of the
amazing on
top
the
three
Jets.
point percentage players. I think he's
Yeah,
like
Hmm.
top five or something, or
yeah,
maybe number one.
and I mean, if you're the Jazz, that makes way too much sense. If they're just like, hey, here's James Wiseman and Jonathan Kaminga for Beasley and Olynyk. Like, why wouldn't the Jazz do
Mm.
that? You know, that's selling a much better player right now, but the Jazz don't care about right now, or at least they shouldn't.
Mhm.
You know, there'll be teams like that. You know, there's a few solid veterans. You know, the Magic have Gary Harris. The Pistons are terrible. They have Bojan Bogdanovic, who's a great player who would be incredible on the Warriors. So I don't know, man.
I just don't know if they're gonna want to give up their young guys, man.
Yeah.
And I get it. You win now for Curry, but then what happens then? Like
Yeah.
you mortgage your future to win, I don't want to say one title, but another title. And
Yeah.
those guys, maybe it's just that they're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they need some little bit more seasoning before they're given all the keys to be the leaders off the bench or what have you, or maybe even get some legit starting time. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I just hope they turn it around because I've always rooted for them. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think they're going to need to make a decision, though, and they kind of tipped their hand in the fact that they gave Andrew Wiggins and they gave Jordan Poole new deals, and they did not give one to Draymond Green.
Yep.
I wonder what the locker room's actually like right now, after the Green and Poole incident, and then Poole getting a big fat deal and Green not getting anything. I mean, we all know that Draymond, I know, Mike, you love him. I can't stand him. But I think we both agree that he is an explosive, fiery personality. I think we just disagree on whether that's good or not.
No, I get that. I get that. But one thing that's undeniable is his importance to the team. What's up?
I think like a lot of people want to say things specifically about like personality wise and stuff. But his personality is what makes him the player he is, and we try to like separate those things. And I mean, Draymond Green is one of my favorite players, and I know there's some stuff, obviously the sucker punch, it was a terrible look and everything, but there's just some things that you have to accept, with players for like what they bring to the table. Like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
There was somebody that told me this the other day. May have been one of you. No, it wasn't. It was somebody I was talking ball with or in a chat or whatever. They said they're talking about baggage versus talent. Yeah. And they're saying if your baggage outweighs your talent, then hell no. But if your talent outweighs your baggage, and I'm not calling Draymond Green talented, but the dude is one of the most important players or the most important player on the not best player, but most important player on this team. And they don't win championships without him.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I agree with you. And even someone who I'm not a fan of his really, but I agree with what both of you are saying. I don't think you can separate his personality from who he is.
That was a good point, man.
If he was more calm, I'm not sure they win the championships they do. If he was a different guy, even same skill set, different personality, different intensity, passion, all that stuff.
Yeah.
However, talent declines and baggage doesn't. That's kind of what the Warriors are up against right now. And that's kind of where I'm coming from is like, he's not 27 anymore. At some point, his personality is going to be louder than his skill or his ability on the floor. And maybe that's what the Warriors are up against right now, is that they're thinking, do we want Draymond for another 4 years? Because we're already seeing, glimpses of a drop-off, right? He's not bad every night, but he's bad some nights.
9, 6, and 7 so far this year. He's 32 years old. Yeah. He'll be 33 in March. I'm not saying he isn't replaceable, but to find a guy that does what he does and being okay with being the third option or whatever the case is, there are guys out there in the league, but you got to find a guy that can do what Draymond and be that emotional leader. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm not sure he is replaceable from an intangible point of view, or I'm not sure he can be replaced on this Warriors team is what I'm trying to say. For all the reasons that you guys have talked about, and I'm trying to give him as much credit as possible here,
and it's hurting you.
It is hurting me. I don't like him. Well, I mean, the Jazz have played the Warriors in the playoffs too much, man. I just after a series like that, you just can't cheer for some people. but it's just the Warriors just have to make a choice, man. And maybe there's not locker room tension. It kind of seems like there would be, I mean, from everything we know about Draymond and what's happened. But who knows? Maybe they can make a trade and fix the bench, and that'll fix everything. But
to be honest, I feel like they've already made a decision. Like they gave Jordan Poole that contract. I think that the thing that they're struggling with now is they didn't expect to struggle the way that they're struggling, and now they're indecisive of what to do. But I mean, they have to do something.
So the question to both of you is he gone by the deadline?
Draymond?
Yeah. Do they find a trade partner this trade, or do you try to one more round with him? Or do you make a trade to try and make this team better and keep him still on this team for this season?
So if I was, sorry, I got a lot to say tonight. If I was the Warriors, I would do one last shake with Poole and Draymond, and I would trade the young guys. I think you're going to be able to get some vets out there, and I would punt on the future because the Warriors have had a dynasty, man. And let's be real. Wiseman so far does not look like a generational talent. Maybe the skill set is there.
Right.
Or, you get what I'm saying, right? He was a great draft prospect. Yeah, but he's not living up to the hype right now. And if you're the Warriors, I don't think you can afford to let Curry age while you're sitting on these guys. I think they should cash in, try to win another title or two, and just take their chances. I mean, if they've done it once, they could probably do it again, in building a great team.
Yeah.
So I'd punt on the future and just try to win this year, next year, and the following with Draymond, with Poole. If that doesn't work, then you can look at that in the off season. But mid-season, I'm trading the young guys.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I'd be in the same boat too.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have an answer. I was asking you guys because I don't have an answer.
Well, so we're at around the 45-minute mark. I don't want to keep you guys too late here. Do we want to talk Victor Wembanyama and the tank race, or should we save that for next week?
Let's talk next week because I want to have some stuff on other prospects too.
Yeah,
guys to talk about. Let's do that next week if that's all right.
Okay.
No, absolutely. I didn't want to go too long here tonight, anyways. And Mike, I know we're 2 and 3 hours behind you respectively, so we don't want to keep you up too long.
Can I mention one thing though that we haven't talked about, and that's the Lakers?
Oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about them.
They're hot, 5-2. They should have beat the Pacers. That was a terrible game. But to me, it's it's two things. Russ has kind of found his role on the bench, and he's looked good. I have to admit, better than I thought he would look. But part of it was I didn't think he would. I don't want to say agree. Yeah, that's kind of. I didn't think that he would embrace it, but he has, and he's played well, and I think he's acknowledged that. But then also too, their shooting has improved. I think Lonnie Walker is shooting pretty well. Kendrick Nunn was horrific, at the start of the season, literally awful, the worst numbers I've ever seen offensively. And he's been pretty solid. Dennis Schroeder came back. Thomas Bryant, I really like seeing Thomas Bryant out there. I think he brings a certain versatility. Hopefully, I know his injury, I forgot what it was, but was kind of flaring up. Hopefully he gets more minutes as well. But what the heck? Sorry, my volume just cut out. But I mean, honestly, I don't want to say turned around, but they've looked significantly better. I don't think all the problems are fixed. I think that they definitely need around 2 role guys to come in and help them out. Because they don't have that depth. And if another injury happens, which it's going to happen to Anthony Davis, it's just a matter of time.
Don't say that to him, man. Why would you?
It's the truth.
No, man, that guy.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, LeBron too, he's had some injury concerns as well. So I mean, I don't know, but I mean they've looked better, I have to admit. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
They don't ask me who they played in those 7 games. Yeah.
Dude,
I-
that meme kills me every time. Mike, did you see that? This meme? Anthony Davis
What is
as the
oh,
dude
God,
from
that's
Unbreakable.
terrible, man. That is not cool, man. That is not cool. Let's not
Yeah.
do that to this young man. I'm trying to share a stat. This is maybe like 10 games old, but a buddy of mine who was also a Laker fan, you know Max, Matty,
Yeah. Yeah, Kessel
and
Hunt.
J-
Yeah.
and yeah, and you know him too. So he shared this with me. I'm trying to find it if he texted to me or
You
sent
should
it
have
to
him
me
on sometime.
via DM. Yeah, because he knows his stuff. I think he sent it to me via DM on Twitter. So I'm gonna
Was it
scroll while you
how
guys talk about it.
horrific their percentages were and
No, it was
stuff?
about
Or
Anthony Davis and the numbers he's been putting up so
oh yeah,
far in
no,
the
it's
season,
been
and nobody's
insane.
talking about it
Yeah.
because people
No.
like you are waiting for him to get hurt. What's wrong with you?
I'm not waiting. It's gonna happen, Mike.
See?
Have you been watching the past few years?
Yeah, but man, so that's past few years. This is 2022. Don't put
Dude,
that in the
okay.
atmosphere about that for
Let's
that kid. He deserves to play
Yeah.
at least 70 games, 75 games.
that kid, dude, he's like 30
Well,
almost. What do you
same
mean,
thing.
kid? You gonna call
You know
me
what
a
I
kid
mean.
next?
You know what I
Um,
mean, man.
no, and I mean, I think part of it too was like I love Austin Reeves, but it
Uh-huh.
was like if there's anyone that's struggled to find their role like next to LeBron, it's kind of been him.
Yeah.
I think he got some confidence when LeBron was out, and AD as well. He's playing a little bit better. I want to see some more from him. He's putting up like 14, I think it's like 14, 4-4 or something the last like 5 games. So he's been playing
Mm.
better. But I mean, I know that something the front office had said was like, how's this team going to look when Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant come back? You know, although I don't know why those were such huge determining factors in decision making. But I mean, they look better. I just hope with what Russ is doing, like off the bench, it's like when you trade Russ, like who are you getting? I just don't know if you have enough guys to, you know, make the playoffs, let alone like win a playoff series. It's tough.
I mean, if they make the playoffs, if for the play-in, I mean, they're probably not going to get past that first.
Oh,
series,
I'm talking about
right?
playing. Yeah,
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 you know.
specifically playing. They're not gonna make it above that 7 seed.
Oh,
I don't know,
okay.
man.
So here it is. Here's a Anthony Davis thing. So in all the games played so far this season, the Lakers are what? What's the record, Maddie?
8-11 or something, or
Okay, so in
8-13 or
19.
something like that. It's
Okay,
8 wins and something.
so in let's call it roughly 20 games, maybe a little bit over 20 games. He has scored
7-12. Sorry.
7 and 12, 19 games. He has scored 20 or less points once. And in the game that he scored 19 points, he went 7 of 12. Okay. Went 7
What game
of
was
12.
that? Do you
That
know?
was the loss at home versus Cleveland when they lost 114 to
Oh, okay.
100 early November.
Yeah.
His season high is 38. That night, he went 10 of 16. He's averaging 26 and 12. Okay. Good for 11th in the NBA in terms of points per game. His last, I'll go 5 games, 25,
I
25,
have that up.
37. You know, the guys look, and nobody's
You want to
talking
know
about
his
that.
last 5 game stats?
Go for it.
29 points on 66% field goal percentage, 85 free throw, 17 rebounds, 2.3 steals, and 3.3 blocks.
Last
and
5?
four assists.
Last
Last
5?
5 games.
And
Yeah,
then
last 5.
and in that last 5, his best game was the loss against Phoenix. He had 37 and 21. Nobody's talking about that. And
they
I
still
think
lost.
they still lost. Yeah, you can't waste efforts like that, especially when he, goes off. But missed 1 from the stripe that night and missed 6 from the field.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did not shoot any threes. Good.
So Lakers are only 4 games out of 4th place right now.
It's not impossible, man.
I know, and I think they have a trade to make.
Don't get my hopes up.
Yeah, I still think they should move Russ into 2 picks. I mean,
I'll take him.
Yeah, I'll take him too.
I'll
Good
take
grief.
him.
I'll
You
good
know
grief.
who I'm giving up for.
I'll give you
No.
4 role players.
You wouldn't
man.
take him?
I would
Man.
rather take Jordan Seal, to be honest with you.
You said you wanted 2 role players. I'll give you 4 of them.
I'll take all 4 of them. Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Conley, Olynyk, Beasley, and who
Nobody
else?
wants Zach LaVine?
Clarkson.
No.
Nah.
Why?
Maybe, dude, call the Miami Heat. They're
Jesus
desperate.
Christ. I don't want to do that.
You don't want Duncan Robinson and Tyler
Hell
Hero?
no. Nope. I mean, Tyler, yeah, I'll take him.
Yeah.
I'll take Tyler, but I wouldn't touch Duncan.
Yeah. Dude, obligatory Heat fans rant. I know you guys are out there listening. We love Heat fans. And about the fans. We love Heat fans. AB's a Heat fan. Yeah, I just think it's funny how they treat Duncan Robinson like he's an asset and not like one of the biggest burdens of a contract in the NBA right now.
What are his percentages right now? Sorry. I need to know that now.
I don't know. I know he's making 17, 18 million a year for the next 4 seasons, but
Jesus
I don't
Christ. Yeah, he is huge. Wasn't his contract like 99,000? I mean 99 million or something like that. It was almost 100 million.
It was 5 years, 90 million.
Look at that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And they got 4 left.
30.6% from 3. Oh. I think me or you could do that, Jordan. I don't know about Mike. I haven't seen his jumper.
Are you kidding me? He's averaging 30%, not averaging, but shooting 30% from 3. And that's your best 3-point. People were comparing him to Clay. I don't think Clay ever shot 30%. Crying out. No, Heat fans were saying he was a better shooter than Clay. And it's like, dude, that was big last season. Oh, yes, the hell it was. Oh, yes, it was. Oh, or maybe the season before, he's a better shooter than Clay or just as good as Clay. The guy can't spell Clay. Like, come on.
Yeah. If the Heat trade Duncan Robinson, there's going to be a pick or an asset attached to it because he is worth nothing. He's worth negative. That's how much he's worth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Damn,
so
man, that's crazy.
Question: Russell Westbrook for Duncan Robinson. Who has to trade draft picks?
Are you kidding? I don't want fucking Duncan. What does that solve? He's shooting 30% from 3.
I know.
He adds to the problem.
Like everyone on the Lakers is shooting above 30% from 3 now.
I know. I just tease him.
This section of the.
It just makes me laugh to think about
I got very offended.
That idea makes me laugh though. Who has to throw in a draft pick for that one?
I'll take Udonis Haslem over.
Oh my god. For the culture, right?
Yeah.
For the culture.
For the culture.
His 20-year career of 12 years on the floor, 8 years on the bench.
Strus is a night. They got that. Okay, really quick. You know, I was telling you, we were talking about this off air, and I was talking with some Heat fans, some good, knowledgeable Heat fans, and I was telling them, I said, look, you want to know what the thing with the Heat is? And I said this about them all last year. I said they were the best team last year of doing literally everything offensively on the offensive side of the ball, and somewhat defensively. I'll start with the offense first. They made every pass until the right shot was there to be had.
Yeah, the ball movement was beautiful.
They played great together, and that's their same problem this year. They played great together last year. You look at that roster, it's not scaring anybody. They played together great together last year. I guess it may have been figured out this year, but Kyle Lowry is not scaring anybody. Tyler Hero's a very good player. Caleb Martin's not scaring anybody. Jimmy Butler is a solid player. Bam Adebayo, they're hoping that he gets to average 20 because let's be honest, if he's averaging 20, if he's averaging his regular season average last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, they win. Okay. Yeah. Gabe Vincent's not scaring anybody, although I do like him. Okay. Yeah. These are all great pieces, but they are not playing good together this year. That roster is scare anybody. Max Strus, good piece, and then they're full of wings. They, Dwayne Dedmon, backing up Bam. I don't know. And so it's not, they played great together last year. Credit to Spo, and even defensively, they knew exactly when to throw in that zone. Would throw teams off.
It's completely. All they do now,
right?
That's all
and
they do.
And when you go to zone, when you're hiding what you can't do defensively, That's what
Yeah.
zone is normally reserved for,
Yeah.
at least in the NBA or on Saturday, weekend warriors or whatever, not college. That's what they lean on. But this roster's not impressive.
Yeah.
And that's kudos to them. They played great last year, but that was last year, man.
Yeah, they messed up by not making a move at over the offseason and losing PJ Tucker and not adding a worthwhile
God.
player is just
Yeah, that was huge. I think
huge
them
mistake.
letting
Yeah.
Jay Crowder go a few years ago was a big deal too.
Yeah. I agree. Crowder's exactly the type of thing they need right now.
Yeah, that's
He's
you know,
available.
Yeah.
that's weird that he still is.
Yeah, what are the Heat gonna trade though? That's the problem. Their only tradable salary is Duncan Robinson, but it has 4 years attached to it.
Ugh.
And you can't trade Kyle Lowry's 30-something million.
Ugh.
And to be fair, Lowry's been playing pretty good this year.
Yeah, he's been
But-
playing better, but he's still not the best point guard on that team,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? Remember a while back when I mentioned what about a Russ trade for Duncan and Kyle Lowry?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
sure
not
people
do that
ch-
now.
oh,
I would not do that now.
no. You said Duncan and who? And
It
Kyle?
was Duncan, yeah, Duncan and Kyle. I said it for like shits and giggles, like you know. what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you
But-
did. I remember.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't knee jerk. I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We will see you guys next Wednesday. It's going to be every Wednesday from now on because Wednesday we talk about buckets, right? So,
Buckets.
yep. So make sure you guys check out aboutthefans.com. Check out all the merch. We know most of you guys are Miami fans. You'll find plenty of stuff that you love there, including these awesome hats that we're all wearing. Yeah. So we'll catch you guys next time. Until then, I was going to say go Canes because I sign off with go Canes on everything I do. So until then, go Canes.
They got the dub.
Yeah, right? Go
Yeah.
Canes.
Yeah, basketball games.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys. Thanks.